afternoon. Welcome to vlog 98. 98 vlogs. I have way more recordings on this YouTube channel than 98. One would think that we would almost record for the 100th time. But that's not true. I've done Vlogmas for several years, 40 days vlogs for several years. I have the instruction videos online. So there are way more than 100 vlogs. But hey, welcome. Welcome to a new week. Welcome to a new vlog. This is, it is Monday, January 12th, and it is 1 p.m. We just had lunch. I recorded my Dutch vlog this morning, and I thought, well, I can easily squeeze the Dutch and the English in before lunch, but that did not happen because somehow I thought that I did not have much to share. But anyways, it turned out to be quite long after all. So, how are you? In the Dutch vlog, I was talking about, I have been watching several vlogs and people that put together a make 9 and people casting 12 things on for Christmas, bingo cards and what more. And I am not going to participate in any of that. Not this year. I have done everything, and over different years I feel different about all kinds of games that there are. So, but this year I'm just going to go with the flow and see what I fall in love with and what I fall out of love with. Projects that I fall out of love with tend to end up in hibernation for a period of time, but nearly always they resurface again because I do cast on a lot, but most of the time those are things that I definitely want to have in the end. So I don't frog many projects. They can be in hibernation for a really long time, and I don't mind that. And I don't mind having multiple projects on the go. And speaking of multiple projects on the go, I don't do New Year's resolutions. But what I do like to bring back in is my rotation system. If you have been watching for a longer time, you know that I have had a rotation system for quite some time, and that is a very effective way of getting knitting done. So last week I decided that I wanted to bring the rotation system back, and I brought 3 projects into rotation, and that is my Mauweh sweater. That is also a design, that's not just knitting. My sea glass cardigan, which I cast on for my Bright and Fresh make along that I'm running in the membership part of this YouTube channel. By the way, I had an English tier available, but I decided to take it out again. I do want to add an English tier, but I am kind of contemplating what price range it should be. You can't have 2 tiers in the same price range, and the more expensive tiers have the cheaper tiers advantages as well. So now I had Swatch, which is my most price-friendly Dutch tier. Then I had Supporter, which was my English tier. Then I had Work in Progress, my middle Dutch tier, and Finished Objects, my top Dutch tier. And so I had the English tier in the middle of the Dutch tiers. And that is not where I want it. So I am contemplating if it should be my cheapest tier. So you only have the things that are available for that tier, because there are no lower tiers, so you don't have any extras that belong in other tiers. Or if I want to make it my top tier, then you do have all the extras, but they are in Dutch. So that is quite difficult, I think. But then it would make it worthwhile for me to record extra English videos, organize Zooms, organize knit-alongs. So then I would have less people in the tier, probably, but it would be more worthwhile. Does that make sense? The way I am explaining it? So if I would make it my cheapest tier and I would only have like 3 people in there, then I could not do anything extra. While if I make it my highest tier and I would have 3 people in there, I could do Zoom calls or a make-along or extra lives or things like that. So I'm just going to put it out there. Would you become a paid member of my YouTube channel somewhere in the near future? And would you, what tier would be worthwhile for you? Yes, I'm just going to put it out there. Please leave a comment down below or email me at linda@wolhobby.nl if you have something to say about it, but you want it to be private. Please let me know. Help me out, because I really enjoy my YouTube channel and I really enjoy the growth of my YouTube channel, but I absolutely love my paid membership channel in Dutch, because I can do so much more, because I know that people are paying some for it, and I really want to make it their worthwhile. So please leave a comment. Let's see. So the rotation system is coming back. And last week I had Mauweh in rotation, like I said, that's also a design. My sea glass cardigan for my Bright and Fresh make-along, and my jaunty for the jaunty spin-along. I brought the jaunty with me this weekend when we were going shopping for Sven, because I know the store where we go shopping for him, he will... one of the employees will find whatever he wants to try on, and Rob came as well. We can sit and we will get a nice coffee, and on Saturday they most of the times have some cake or something sweet to go with the coffee. So I knew that I was going to spend some time sitting and waiting and admiring Sven every time he came out of the, how do you call it? can't come up with the right word. The little room where you can try clothes on and then you come out and, well, you know what I mean. So I brought my jaunty because I thought I did not have a sock on the go. I do. But I brought my jaunty. And this is how far I am at the moment. I am using my own hand-spun yarn. You can also join the jaunty along if you don't spin or if you are not using hand-spun. But this is my hand-spun. It is deep stash. I don't even know what it is. It is probably a merino blend or something. And this is where I was last time I showed it. So this is a super easy knit. Hence I could bring it to the shopping. I'm going to move the stitch marker up now. It's a super easy knit. I don't need the pattern. And but this is growing a little bigger already and I can't bring it in my purse anymore. So this is not a good project to take on the go. So this is going to go just in regular rotation and this will be my knit for during coffee time or just a row while I wait for dinner to cook, something like that. It is really squishy. It is a half fisherman's rib, so it feels really nice. And yes, it's still living in my Christmas bag from Fiber Rachel, a Dutch bag designer, because I'm not ready to say goodbye to all things Christmas yet, although this does not have Christmas needle stoppers anymore. But I have a bigger bag ready so that I can put it next to where I sit on the couch and knit on it every now and then. I made myself a green tea, Sencha lemon. I already brought the water to a boil, so I poured it in my cup and let it cool for a little while, because green tea is really better if you don't put it in boiling hot water. So the best temperature is, I think, 70 degrees Celsius, which I have a setting for on my kettle. Ooh, this is really nice. And this is the cup that my sister gave me, and I came to the conclusion that this shape is just so lovely to drink tea out of, because it's very wide on the top, so your tea cools down a little easier, and it's just, it's nice to hold. And I used to have a porcelain tea set, and the cups are shaped like this as well. So I found myself grabbing this mug every time I wanted to have a tea. So that's really nice. I have been knitting on my sea glass as well. It is living in my Studio Berengoord bag, made by the lovely Petra. I gifted this to myself in December. This is the notions pouch that comes with it. That was optional, by the way, but I wanted to have the notions pouch as well. This is an awesome bag. I really enjoy carrying this around, and this project does not even leave my house because, of course, I am using my dream box, which is quite big. So this is not going anywhere, but somehow I really enjoy having this project in that bag. I am, let's see, what have I knitted this week? The stitch marker is here, so I did this bit that is probably 2.5 inches or something. I will move the stitch marker up right away. This is a Christmas stitch marker, by the way, and there are Christmas needle stoppers on here. Like I said, I'm not ready to let go of all the Christmas spirit, so these are on there. So cute. Stitch marker is moved up. This is quite a large stitch amount by now. I am way over 300, and this project is slow. It is slow because I have been swatching. I did not even tell this in the Dutch vlog. I have been swatching, and let's see, this is the right way up. You see that the swatch is much wider on the bottom than it is on the top. And this is the same needle size, but right in the middle here, what happened, at the bottom of the swatch, I knitted with 2 colors, and this is a color work, 1x1 color work. The entire cardigan is 1x1 color work. And the bottom part of the swatch, I held both yarns over my left hand. I put one over my index finger and one over my index finger and middle finger. And I always have the dominant color on the left and the contrast color on the right. By the way, my main color is my contrast color here because I wanted to have the color work showing up really well. So, and then I knitted my swatch. But I was like, okay, could totally do this. But what if I am knitting with the contrast, the dominant color, so all the different colors over my left index finger and the main color over my right index finger. And that gives me a totally different gauge. And the fun part is that the gauge that I am getting when I'm holding yarns in both hands is the gauge I needed for this pattern. This is knitted in Holst Garn Super Soft. This is quite stiff. It is quite rustic. I have no clue at all why this is called super soft. Even soaked and blocked, it is way softer, way drapier. But to say that this is super soft, that's not true. Not soft like merino soft. So, but that's okay. I can totally cope with knitwear next to skin like this. This will probably not be very much next to skin because it's a cardigan, so obviously you always wear something underneath. But you could wear short sleeves underneath, for example. I think I can manage that. But anyways, this was giving me gauge, but I am super slow with my right hand because I can't flick, so I have to really wrap my yarn around and let go of the needle all the time. So this is just really slow fashion, sweet and slow. I am enjoying myself tremendously, and but this is taking a long time. I am way over 300 stitches by now. I am almost at the stitch count that I can split for the sleeves, but I have quite fluffy upper arms, so I think I need to knit a little longer, and I need to check how many stitches there are under the arm. So to be continued. I think the front parts and the back are okay once I reach the stitch count for the size I am making, but I do think I need more room in the sleeve. So I hope to have this split it for the sleeves when I talk to you again. I've been knitting on this every day last week, also not on the jaunty, also on the Mauweh. Those will be my main focus projects, and I want to knit on both of them every day. Even if it's just one row, I just don't want to lose momentum, especially not with Mauweh, with the design, but also not with this one. Like I said, I cast this on for my Bright and Fresh Make Along for my membership here on YouTube, and I decided to do live knit meetups for the people who would want to travel to Nijkerk, the place where I live. So I did a poll first, and one day was favorite. So I decided to do the live meetup on that day, but I only have so much space. So if I have 10 knitters here, that is enough, so to say. So I decided to do a second day and a third day. So I have 2 days in February and 1 day in March where I will have around 10 knitters traveling down to Nijkerk to spend the day here knitting. We are going to do it potluck style, so everyone brings something to eat. I will take care of coffee, tea and other drinks, but I'm very much looking forward to all 3 of those days. There are, of course, many knitters that I've never met in person, so that's exciting. So, yeah, that is planned for the next coming months, the upcoming months. Yesterday I rolled off a new main color ball from the cone that I'm using, and yeah, what more can I say? To be continued. And like I said, I hope to have separated for the sleeves when I talk to you again. That would be nice. Then my Mauweh design. Mauweh is a sweater that I designed for Kirsi. Years and years ago she bought a sweater, she wore it to pieces, but it was her favorite sweater, and then she asked me, "Mom, can you design a sweater like this for me?" And I designed it last year or even the year before. I think the design was finished in 2024. The plan was to grade it and launch it in 2025, but then we had a collision at the beginning of March, and I am coping with post-whiplash syndrome ever since. So my brain did not work half of the year last year, and to design and to grade, especially to grade, you need a working brain. This is living in my design in progress. Please do not disturb back. This is made for me by Esther. Esfaro is her Instagram handle. I already had knitting in progress back, but I asked if she would want to make a design in progress for me, because I want to bring designing to more in focus, so to say. So now I have a dedicated bag for my designs, and yeah, nothing is in the way except for my brain not working for a full 100% the entire day. But hey, okay, well, let's see. On January 7th, it was Kirsty's 23rd birthday. And I said, what better day to start the new version of Mauweh on your birthday? She thought that that was a really good idea. I really need to keep a close eye on this sweater once it's finished, because I think she will steal it from me. And I need a sweater as a sample in my yarn booth as well, right? So I started this on January 7th, and today is the 12th, and this is what I have so far. I cast on the underarms yesterday. Look at my cute stitch marker, my little umbrella. I put this in just when I was recording the Dutch vlog, because this is my progress keeper. So hence that is there. What can I say? I'm still saving a little of the Christmas spirit here. Like I said, the design is already finished in this size. So I am just re-knitting my own pattern to see if everything is the way I want it. I did some tiny changes already. For example, in the first Mauweh, I alternated yarns in the side seam, and I decided to do helical alternating. So I changed that in the pattern. I made a little deeper armhole depth. That was 12 centimeters, but I think 13 centimeters is more realistic. So I changed that, and that's about it, I think. So I'm just re-knitting my own design. For the first version, I used my In the Navy, which is a very deep dark blue. But for the sleeves, the ruffles on the sleeves, I needed a lighter yarn. And I did not have any fluffy yarn in my webshop yet. I still don't have that in my webshop yet. But I did order fluffy yarn and dyed it up in my Where's My Martini for this sweater. So Kirsty bought yarn at Abmesga for the first edition of Mauweh. I'm going to test drive this yarn for the second edition. If this is to my liking, I will order a bigger amount of this yarn and to dye up kits for this sweater. I am keeping track of how many hours are going into this knit. I'm keeping track of it because I always think I can knit the world in no time, and I can't. And if you are knitting something for yourself, that's not important, right? This is my slowest project ever, but that's okay because there's no deadline. There's no deadline here either, but I do want to eventually launch the pattern. So I want to know how much time goes in this. And although I did not keep track of the time that it took me to actually design this, I want to know how much knitting time goes in here, and I want to know how much time it will take me to grade it. Because these days, if you want to be a size-inclusive knitwear designer, you need to think about 9 or 10 sizes. So there's a whole range to grade. I have no clue yet on how I'm going to do that, but I'm going to do my best, and then I'm going to have it tech edited and have it test knitted in every size. So this is going to take the rest of the year probably. But I do want to keep momentum, so hence I want to knit and work on this each and every day. By the way, today I am wearing my Warm and my Rocio cardigan. The Warm is the pattern that I designed for this year's Advent calendar. I covered it in one of the last Vlogmases, I think. Yes, or maybe in vlog 97. Well, it is covered. And then my big finish! Yay! Big finish! Drum roll! No, drum roll. You all know what I'm talking about, right? My temperature blanket, the bits and bobs, is finished. I'm going to stand up. Let's see. If I stretch it out like this, and if I hold it up, the bottom is on the floor now. So I measured it out when it laid flat on the floor, and it was 160 centimeters. I will put the inches down below because I forgot to calculate it before recording. But when I hold it up, the weight of the blanket gives it more length. I am 169 and I'm holding my arms up, so it is quite the length. It is 1.35 meters wide, but it's very stretchy because this is a fisherman's rib, so this stretches tremendously, and it weighs 1444 grams. And to be honest, I thought that was not that bad, because when I was working on this, I had a feeling that it was way heavier. But still, Rob said, so that's more than 14 skeins of yarn. So that is quite a lot, right? I used my buttermilk for the main color, and I used all kinds of scraps for the contrast colors. And I divided my scraps in color groups, and each color group got 3 degrees on the Celsius scale. And every day at noon, I looked what the temperature was in Nijkerk, where I live, and I found the right bag of yarn and just knitted 1 row with it. When I started this, I was planning to have this blanket for myself. But over time, it became clear that Kirsi would really like this. And but what she doesn't like are fringes. And for those of you who watched who are watching my vlogs for a longer time, know that because I change color every row, I decided to do fringes on this side. Well, I'm going to put in a little footage that I made yesterday, and then I will get back to you. Hi. It's finished. Well, the knitting is finished. I'm going to tell all about it in the vlog. But this is past me untying all the knots. Because when I started this on January 1st, 2025, I planned on knitting this for me. But it turns out that Kirsi really likes this blanket. I like it too, but if one of my kids asks for something knitted, I am prone to gifting it to them right away if I can. So when she showed interest in this blanket, and when she told me she would like to have it, I was like, okay, it is all yours. But when I still thought it was for me, I made all these fringes. When I finished the row, my hair is a mess, by the way. We have been out for a walk and it's freezing, so I'm a bit crazy hair. Just a little crazier than usually. Anyways, when I started and finished each color, I tied the contrast colors to themselves. The white stayed attached, of course, but I tied the contrast color to themselves, and I tied one of them to one of the contrast colors for the next day to secure all the ends. And then I made a fringe. So I had one fringe which I tied on itself as well, and the other ends I just cut it really short. Anyways, untying all these knots make my fingers hurt a little. So I will be so glad when this is done. When this is done, I'm going to cut the ends short. Like I said, they are all tied, so I don't need to worry about unraveling. I'm going to cut them all short, and then I'm going to fell stitch this ribbon over all the cut ends. And it is really like when you put a ribbon over a stick in a cardigan. I've never done it, but I don't think it's rocket science, so I just assumed that I could do it. And as far as Kirsi knows, I'm going to leave the fringes out, but I just know she would like it better without the fringes. So I was like, let's go the extra mile, untie all the knots, unravel all the fringes, and just make it the way she likes it best. This is all I still need to do because I started from both ends. So I'm nearly there. And I want to finish this today. Today is a Sunday, January 11th. It is 1:45. We are about to have coffee. But Rob is rinsing yarn that we dyed yesterday. So when he is done rinsing, we will have a coffee, and I hope to have untied all the knots before he gets back down again. I have started sewing on the band, the ribbon. I'm using the fell stitch, which is just a tiny bit different than the whip stitch. The fell stitch gives tiny straight stitches, while the whip stitch gives slanted stitches. So the slanting that I'm doing happens while I make the next stitch in the blanket. So I'm going straight to the top of where my latest stitch is, and then I'm going to slant down a little and pick up the ribbon again. And for now, I did not cut my yarn yet. I did try for just a tiny bit here to see if what I came up with was actually working. I also did a tiny bit of stitching of the opposite side of the ribbon, and I'm keeping a tiny bit of stretch on the blanket while I make the next stitch. So the ribbon is just a little bit wobbly, but I think it is smart to take a little extra room in account for this. I am happy with how this turned out on the top of the blanket, but if I'm going to do the second seam, so the bottom of the ribbing, it is not handy for me to work from the top of the blanket to the bottom. So I'm going to finish the top of the ribbing now all the way to the bottom, and then I'm going to cut the yarns, and then I'm going to turn the blanket around and work my way back up from the bottom to the top, so that I have the easiest way, the easiest direction, so to say. And like I said, I'm just putting a tiny bit of stretch on the blanket, and then I can pull the fringe threads here to make a very nice edge, and then I make my next fell stitch. So the entire ribbon is attached on one side, and I'm now cutting the fringes so that they will fall under the ribbon, and I can sew the other side. It took quite a long time. I was a bit surprised. I have 1 more hour before it's dinner time. It would be nice if I could finish it before that, but we will just have to see. I'm not an expert sewist, seamstress. Well, you know what I mean. Not at all. My go-to craft is knitting. But I hope to be so happy with the end result, and most of all, I hope that Kirsi will be happy with the end result. So I'm going to continue working on this and check in with you later. I have finished the first bit. This is January, and I really like the look from the front. It is a bit wobbly from the back. I was afraid that I would skew the fabric and the ribbon. So I measured half of the blanket out. Then I measured again half, then again half, then again half. So I made smaller and smaller portions, and then I pinned the ribbon out to make sure that I don't end up with more ribbon or more fabric when I'm at the end. I have to dig pretty deep here to actually grab some fibers from the blanket. Otherwise, I would just only sew on the ribbon, and there's no point really. So let's see, 40 more minutes to dinner time. Let's see how far I can get. So this is how it turned out. And as you can see, the ribbon is a little wobbly, but I am very happy with it because the blanket is of course stretchy, so it still has some stretch. I think it looks quite good. I enjoyed trying this out. This would probably be the same technique I would use to cover up a steek in a cardigan. And then I would use one of those nice ribbons, right? One of those nice woven ribbons with flowers or something else. But this was really nice to have some practice. This side of the blanket does flare a little because of the ribbon, but I'm totally okay with that. And I'm sure that Kirsi is okay with that as well. I think she will be really happy that there are no fringes coming off her blanket. And yeah, although I got behind on this, I'm really happy this got finished on January 11th. So yeah, I'm not going to do a temperature blanket this year. I have plans to make Svenne blanket. I covered that in one of the vlogmases. I want to do the squares with the shadow illusion in there. So I still need to swatch a little more. I found a crochet pattern that is also using the shadow trick, so to say. So I'm still not sure if I'm going to knit his blanket or crochet his blanket. I must say that I like the knitted square a lot. I'm holding the yarn double, so the squares are a little bigger, so I don't have to make a million of them. But yeah, the crocheted one is also really nice. To be continued. I have one more thing to show you, well, two really. Of course, I could not celebrate my birthday because I threw my back out, and last Friday a friend of mine came over for a tea and she brought me this chai latte mix that you need to put in 1 liter of milk, and then you have to put it on the stove for 15 minutes. I think I'm going to make that this weekend. And it sounds delicious, by the way. And she gifted me this beautiful book. This is a book by James Norbury, and it's The Travel of the Wise Cat. That is how I translate it, but let's see. Oh, the original title is The Cat Who Taught Zen. The drawings in this book are absolutely stunning. When I was just flipping through it, I was like, I want to make skeins of yarn of this setting, of this colorway. Look how pretty. So, so pretty. So I am thinking about whether I want to use some of these as an inspiration picture for some new colorways to come. I've never done that, not really. Look how beautiful. So beautiful. If I can catch this in a skein of yarn, I will want to knit with it. Stunning. Anyways, there is a lot of white, very little text, beautiful, beautiful paintings and a lovely story to this book, I think. So I'm very happy that she got me this. Okay, I think that's it for now. So you know what projects I have in rotation. Please let me know down below about the membership part in an English tier. You would help me enormously because I can think of things myself, but if it's not something people are willing to participate in, there's no point really, is there? So I'm going to have a wonderful week knitting and dyeing, and this afternoon I have to conquer the tedious task of taxes. I'm not looking forward to that, but I just have to conquer it and have it over and done with. That is the tax part for Q4 of 2025, of course. So I wish you happy knitting, happy making, and I hope to see you again next week. Bye bye.